Yeah, right. So this one is like invalidating feelings. That's a big thing. I think my generation is probably going to be one of those like that are on the edge that understand this but don't necessarily know how to deal with it. And most of our parents, me being 23 and of course you're gonna be younger, 20, 21, 22, 19, 18, 17. If some people will come across this, be 15, 16. And the sooner you understand it, the better you're going to be off. But you have to understand that your parents come with like baggage and trauma, and it's because of how they grew up. And so you can't take it necessarily personal. A lot of us can end up resenting our parents because of the way they treat us, but the reality is that it's completely subconscious behavior that has been learned, programmed, and repeated. And most of the time, they're not even aware of it. One of the biggest things that I deal with is that both of my parents invalidate how I'm feeling. Or if I bring something up, it's always like, well, everyone deals with that. Oh, well, no, you just have to, that's just a part of life, or you're this and that. It's like, I'll come, and I stopped coming to them for emotional support. One of the only people in my life is my grandma, who really understands what it's like to go through trauma, to push through it, and to maintain like a positive mindset and try and keep that. Because at the end of the day, it's like you have to figure out a way to get through it. And if you're coming to the people that you think are going to support you to get support, but then they invalidate how you feel, you end up suppressing it. And when you suppress it, you live with it. You become more depressed, and so you have to look for some external sources that are going to help you find the internal frequency of which you can radiate outwards to where you feel like you're whole. For me, like, I've accepted that I can't go to my father, I can't go to my mother to talk about how I feel because they don't understand it. Not only that, but they didn't grow up with technology. So how could they ever understand a child who is living in an age of technology and phones and social media? They can't. So you just want to be able to accept your parents and their unconscious behaviors because they can't really control them. And a lot of the times they don't really want to work on that personal and self-development aspect of themselves because they don't know how, and it's just not in their playbook anymore. It's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's not true, but for most of the old dogs, it is. And so you have to find a new way to be able to cope with it. And a lot of the times you're going to find a new way to cope with it by educating yourself on it, because when you're educated on it, you're going to have less of an effect. It's going to have less of an effect on the way you feel, and you're going to be able to accept it a lot more. So for me, that's exactly what it was, is I just had to accept that both my mom, my dad, and even just a lot of most people in general don't even understand their own traumas. I understand my traumas and the traumas that I went through as a kid. I never felt like I had been loved. And so that can just mess with how somebody views themselves as like unlovable. Or if I ever had feelings and I would go and try and get them resolved, it was almost like reprimanded. Like it was almost like, no, like, I don't know. I had felt like I had to almost keep secrets, because if I had opened up too much, it would almost be weaponized against me. And that's really sick. Like if you don't come with a supportive mindset to your child, like that's pretty fucking sick. And I'm the result of it. I'm the result. Like I don't trust mom. I don't trust dad. I barely open up to them about anything because it's like I've always been shot down or invalidated. And if you want your child to have resentment against you, that's great. That's great on you. Most of you guys probably wouldn't even think that your child has this. But that just shows how unconscious your behaviors are and your not understanding of what you're doing, and the lack of self-development and personal growth that you haven't engaged in to even reconcile with it or even recognize it. Because most people are 100% just unaware of these things, these little tiny things that they really seem like they're little, but end up growing into deeper things than the other external parts of their life because they're the internal work they've neglected to work on. So If you feel resentment towards your parents, understand that it's their subconscious behavior that's controlling the things they're saying and the actions that they're taking. And a lot of the times you can't help them. The only thing you can do is help yourself and figure it out for yourself, what it is that's affecting them, their trauma and your trauma. And then find someone that you trust that understands this stuff and that you can talk to, or even externally look on YouTube and find people who are talking about this stuff that you can relate to. Because the last thing you want to do is talk to the same people that are unconsciously doing these things. It's just going to drag you down and down and down. You're going to be invalidated more and more and more. And anyone who's not engaged in personal development will not understand what it is that you're trying to engage with. And the efforts are futile, and they're always going to have a negative impact on you. So yeah, try and look for sources to educate yourself, and the more you become educated, the more you're going to be able to figure it out for yourself and find and build your own pathway by staying away from the people that are hurting you.